What is actually up, good people? Happy snow. Happy Snowmageddon. Snowvid. People up here in the Northeast getting anywhere from 6 to 24 inches of snow today. More than we've received combined all last year and the year before that. So, woo! I feel bad. I literally just blew off my daughter to get here, and I'm still late. She was talking to me about some English nonsense that was going on. My daughter is currently on the couch in front of the television because she's home. She's virtual anyway. She's 100% virtual. But she's home today, but everything's like kind of modified, and they're not even doing Google Meets because, honestly, the Google Meets can't handle it. Can't handle all the kids on virtual just yet. You know, first world country cannot seem to get our internet to work. Go team. So anyway, so she was talking to me about this English assignment, and she's talking to me about how they got to do it in a group, but she doesn't know what group she's in. She doesn't know who the president of the group is, but it's probably Megan. Megan's a hurricane. Megan's president of a lot of stuff, so I totally understand, but I'm standing at the door to come down here. I'm like, I can't talk to you anymore. I got to come down here, and still managed to be late. And why am I late, you ask? Because I am videoing. And I still haven't worked this out. It's not videotaping, right? It's on a phone. Video phoning sounds stupid. It's not like banana phoning. But I'm videoing, once again, the Hard Rock Lunchbox. And I'll talk about why I'm doing that in a minute. But I want to point out that I absolutely have a brand new angle. And as good as my breasts look from the upward angle of last week, I decided that a downward angle and substantially more clothing would actually make the appearance look better. Although I am looking into the background. I got to do something about the background because you see, like, you can't see, but if you could see, you would see that I have my electronic drum kit that's just covered in a blanket, and it's also covered by guitar cables and stuff like that, proving once again that guitar cables are just simply better. Guitar stuff is better than drum stuff. That's a fact. That's not my opinion. I'm just saying, obviously. And then a whole bunch of old gear and stuff like that. But it's funny. So I'm doing this thing, and I'll explain more about that later, for the Hard Rock Lunchbox in conjunction with Strangerhood TV Productions, I guess we could call it if we want to get all fancy about it. But so now I'm trying to video the beginning of the show in order to offer up a new product to people that might find other stuff about the Hard Rock Lunchbox more interesting and not necessarily want the entire product. Because I, for one, have a lot of trouble getting through podcasts that are terribly long. I don't understand how people are able to listen to this show every week. I mean, I guess because it's live and because it's a set time and because you either listen to it or you don't, and then you pay attention to it or you don't, or it's just like, you know, it's just kind of on in the background. Like, that's cool. Like, however it works for you is awesome. I have a lot of trouble with it. I have a lot of trouble scheduling things. Once I have something scheduled, though, I am aces at execution. But as anybody that has ever tried to tie me down for an interview over the past couple of years knows, it is just impossible to get me to commit to anything. But once I do commit to it, I'm 100%. But what I was realizing is that I, for the first time, probably in the history of this show, I feel some pressure to actually do something worthwhile at the beginning of the show. And to be perfectly honest, that goes against everything this show stands for. To do anything important or worthwhile. So I kind of had a conversation with myself this morning, and I said, basically, self, like, don't make it worthwhile. Don't do anything like that. Don't do anything. Just do kind of what we always did. Because to be perfectly honest, I do the show. I post the replay as a podcast. And I'll be doing something with the first, bunch of the show. And if people want to listen to it, then people listen to it. But it's not that I don't do work. Like, it's not like I'm not trying to bring quality here. I think what made the show interesting is that, and honestly, I have no standing to say what makes the show interesting, but I think what made the show interesting is just the ability to sort of talk through things, especially with me, like in the beginning of the show, like there's always something rattling around this big dumb head of mine, and I have used this show as basically socialist medicine free therapy for 7 years, trying to work stuff out. And the moment I try and change that and do something more canned or quote unquote professional, I think it's going to lose whatever it is that it does have. So that being said, I immediately came up with stuff I wanted to talk about, which I thought was funny. I wanted to actually speak about this whole virtual schooling thing, because I've been in. So my friend Gavin, who you guys might know, he used to work the door at Even Flow. So I've known Gavin forever. And Gavin's one of those people that is very similar to me in political ideas on some things, and then could not be further away from me on others. And it bothers me sometimes when I argue with him, and he tends to he's very well researched, and he's very well informed on what I would consider to be misinformed sources. So it's very difficult to have conversations with people like that. But I was talking about students and virtualization, something I know very well because my daughter is doing it and has experienced stuff, and even pre-COVID was looking into that kind of thing. I have a lot to say on it. So I was going to talk about that and just sort of kind of just open it up to see like what other people were thinking and experienced. But I hit something this morning that really just bothered me, and it's sticking with me, and it's sticking with me so much that it's literally doing one of those things where it's just rattling around in my brain. And I know it's not literally, it's figuratively, but so I have friends on Facebook, as I assume other people do. To be perfectly honest, most of my friends on Facebook are people that are interested in the band, what they can get from it, what they can get from me specifically. I have other people that are just fans of the band. I have other people that are friends of fans of the band and stuff like that. And the political landscape being what it has been over the past year has really changed that and carved out different camps of people. I mean, this is not a political statement, but like I cannot believe like how rigid some people are actively being on a social media platform with people that you're actually supposed to be friends with or cordial with. And I get stuck when there are people that I actually, I want to say care about, and I'm not sure that that's quite the word. Like I'm interested in what they think, and I'm interested in having conversations with them. And one of the people that I have that with, he's actually the father of a dude that serves in our U.S. military, which I think is just fantastic. I'm a huge supporter of the U.S. military. It is something that I did not do, something my grandfather did, my uncle did. Like my grandfather was on a subcatcher in the Pacific in World War II and was actually stationed in the Pacific and was out to sea during Pearl Harbor, but like could have easily been at Pearl Harbor. But not only that, like I've had friends over the years, like good friends that actually serve, and the military is a lot of things, but there's a lot of character that goes into it, and I've always been, I guess, impressed or at the very least respectful of all those people that will put their lives on hold or change their life completely to serve their country. Like there is no draft. I feel like if there was a draft, we'd be way more discriminate with the wars we wage and all that other stuff, but there isn't one. So it's left to people that opt to serve their country. There are definitely people that are just scumbags that also serve their country in the military. Like, but I can't. You never can judge the entire group of people by what a couple people do. Like that's just true, and I think that can carry over to most arguments, right? But anyway, so his son serves. His son is a big fan of Revel 9, specifically The Good Fight, because The Good Fight was a song directed and dedicated constantly to the men and women that serve in our armed forces. So I think that a lot of military people and families gravitated towards that song while we were touring on it, because, and I had said this, actually, I told this story years ago. Might even get all choked up about it. It was probably like 5 or 6, maybe even 7 years ago. We played at Mercury Lounge in New York City. We played, it was us, it was Last Stand for Lucy, Bound by Substance, and Ghost of Eden. It's one of the 5 greatest shows I've ever played in my entire life. And it was Toys for Tots, and the Marines were there to accept donations. And we did what we always do. It was definitely the touring, so it had to be like 5 or 6 years ago, definitely the touring for the Reality Crush. So we were playing Good Fight pretty much every show. I would always make that dedication to the men and women of our armed forces. I'm sure I specified the Marines that were in the room for their service. And after we had played, and I was walking through the bar putting my stuff back, one of the Marines that was there shook my hand and thanked me for it. And I could not speak. I could barely respond because I hadn't done anything. I hadn't done a goddamn thing. And I stand in awe very few times in my life, and that was one of them. It was a big one, because all I did was recognize their service. The service of the gentleman standing in front of me, the officer, the Marine standing in front of me, United States Marine standing in front of me. And it was a moving thing for me, and I can't imagine that dude has given it a second thought, but I think about it all the time, because it's like I didn't do anything. But anyway, so that long ass introduction is going to turn south here, probably annoy a bunch of listeners, but I'm sorry, I'm not trying to make this political. I will get to my point within the first 20 minutes. I will desperately try. So anyway, because of stuff like that, and because of my personal stance on support of the military. I'm not looking to expand the military. I'm not a believer in the military-industrial complex, but I do happen to believe that if you put your life on hold to serve your country in that capacity, your country owes you a debt of gratitude, and I feel like over the past 30, 40 years, we have failed them miserably. And I've been vocal, I have been loud, and I have been consistent in that belief. And I think because of that, I attract the attention of a lot of military families, because I feel like they see things the same way. So that all being said, here's actually what I wanted to say. I cannot believe it took me 14 minutes to get to the point, but it is the Hard Rock Lunchbox, so I guess what else would you expect? Anyway, so we have a huge political divide in this country. We have a huge worldview divide in this country. And we believe things that we see, we believe things that we're told, we don't think for ourselves all that often, and this kind of stuff really pisses me off, and it's really starting to bother me more and more and more, because it's erasing the conversation. Like, there's no conversations to be had. I was watching a news report the other day, and they were talking about all these incoming and new congressmen who are clearly just coming, to Washington in an age not of compromise, like the golden age of Congress, which is now over, but they're in an age of combatism and just, no, absolutely not. Like, you said it's a bad idea. Like, seriously, it's not a way that government should run. It's a way that bar fights should run. And I think that that's a problem. And what I saw today actually just sort of struck me, because it's a prime example of the way misinformation and misusage of your ideology and your failure to sort of understand everything that's happening, and your reluctance and absolute refusal to come to the table anymore and discuss things, and as Americans, as humans, and where we are now, and how much of a problem it is. And this is completely innocent enough, but it pissed me off so much that I ended up starting my entire show with it. So this was basically the post. It's a picture. It's a picture of 3 incoming new congressmen, all 3 Republicans. And you'll just have to trust me on the photo. But here's the caption. check out the photo of these three new congressmen. Jim Baird, Republican from Indiana, lost his left arm in Vietnam. Brian Mast, Republican from Florida, lost both legs in Afghanistan. Dan Crenshaw, Republican from Texas, lost his right eye in Afghanistan. All three of these men are Purple Heart recipients, but how often have you seen them on the evening news? Yet how often have we seen the two Muslim women and the communists from New York all blabbering vulgarities and spouting out anti-Israel, anti-American insults? Let's see appreciation for real service to our nation. Okay, now it's just a repost, right? It's not his actual words. Problem is, I don't know the other two, but the middle one, the dude from Florida, Brian Mast, I absolutely know him. And I actually said, I sure heard plenty about the one dude from Florida because apparently it's funny to sleep with 15-year-olds. Now, you can think whatever you want about the Muslims in Congress and the communist from New York, which I'm assuming is AOC. And as far as I'm concerned, if you aren't from Queens and you're still against AOC, like, you either need to take a civics lesson or just shut the hell up, because she's not your representative, so shut up. It doesn't matter, and you don't matter. Your opinion does not matter. She is not your representative. She is not the Speaker of the House. She's nothing national. She is a representative of the area in Queens and Congress. She won by a landslide because she represents those people. Just like your guys won by squeakers because they represent your people. So shut up. But here's my thing. So, South Florida Congressman Brian Mast joked about rape and referenced sex with 15-year-old girls in old Facebook comments to a friend who is now his campaign manager. Yep, these things were years ago. However, one of the comments involves a February 23rd, 2009 photo of a bar outing posted by Rocco Ladani, who is now Mast's campaign manager. The photo was taken during Ladani's vacation to South Africa. Mast publicly commented on Facebook, "I'm so proud of you. I hope you hook up with at least 15-year-olds over there. It's legal there, right?" He is a congressman from Florida. I mean, to be perfectly honest, the from Florida part shouldn't surprise anybody. But yeah, that's who we're saying, like, oh yeah, let's definitely give them some more press. Doesn't even stop there. 2 years later, Ladani asked in May, anyone have any good pickup lines for this weekend, considering, according to the crazy Christian radio guy, the world may end on Sunday? And Mast responded, how about don't turn this rape into a murder? Yeah, man. That's your United States representative from Florida. Is there any chance we can give that piece of shit land back to Spain yet? Any chance? Do you think Spain would take it? Probably not. So this is my problem. And I even referenced it after posting that article under my friend's post. I said, you know what? Not everyone is perfect by a long shot, but vilifying everyone isn't helping anyone. And what I mean by that is that if we're constantly just being like, my guy, you're a communist, you don't know what you're talking about. You're standing up and backing up people that are horrible, horrible human beings. Like, stand for your own, that you can vouch for. Because I've got to tell you, a large notch of respect for this person was lost today. I don't think he cares at all what I think. But I have to tell you, if you are actively supporting people that think it's funny to bag 15-year-old girls in Africa and think that rape and murder is funny, I don't think that much of you anymore. I really don't. And you should be quite ashamed of yourself that those are the values you're posting. Those are your values, right? That's what you're saying is true. But I truly believe that this dude just doesn't know that. Doesn't know that about this guy, which is the only reason I bothered posting it anyway. And I wouldn't have remembered the dude's name except he lost his legs in Afghanistan. And as somebody that's very pro-military, yeah, man, I think this dude should be taken care of. He deserves our respect. But the moment you start talking about how funny it is to rape a girl that's a year older than my daughter, respect goes right out the window, dude. So I don't entirely know what my message is, unsurprisingly, I'm sure. But how about we just stop? Talk about what you think. Stop reposting what your stupid friends think. Because believe me, as someone that posts on Facebook, you're probably a moron if you're posting on Facebook. You're not changing anyone's mind ever, which still bothers me, and I fall for that trap all the time. Because it's a waste of time. But I do actually care about the humanity that is being lost. Because the humanity is what made it worth it. And people just hating each other from other sides without having the right information, like, we should all be mad at that. We should all, there is nobody, like, there really shouldn't be anybody that is defending, oh, it's a long time ago. I don't care. I don't care how long ago it is. Unless you're 15, I'll give you a 16, 17-year-old boy. Like, unless that's what's up, I think it's a problem, and I think it shows a severe lack of judgment, a severe lack of character. Maybe you've matured, maybe you've not, but like, I don't know, you're not the poster boy for what's great about Congress. And I think if people just step back and like took a beat and like didn't rally around people that aren't who they think they are, then maybe we could actually have a conversation. Maybe if people just shut their word holes for a little bit and just listen instead of just shouting stuff, we can have a conversation with real people about real things that they're doing, that they're going through. Those are what we should be talking about. Like I started saying, like I wanted to talk about like virtual learning and my daughter. My daughter is killing it. She's absolutely killing it. They're running out of letter grades to give her. She's doing so well. And everyone's like, no, virtual learning is not working. It's bad for kids and all that stuff. Like, no, not all of them. Not all of the time. And what are we going to learn from this little experiment? What are we going to do? Dude, we can't even sit and talk responsibly about, I don't know, the basic moral stuff that I think we all agree on. We take something we can all agree on and we still can't agree on it. What does that tell you? Where are we? And how the hell do we get out of here? I don't know. I'm going to play some Rise Against, though. Maybe that'll work.